Hello and welcome back to the Puck Drop podcast. Well, I believe we're on season 2, episode 5. Am I correct?
This is season 2, episode 5. So this is our 10th episode of the podcast.
Ever?
Well, 11th technically, but we're not into technicalities. It's the 10th episode.
What do you mean technically? What do you mean technically?
So, as part of our Big Raiders week, we had Aiden Wilson on. But
That counts. That counts.
We only released the interview.
That counts.
Like, main body.
It counts. I'm telling you, it counts.
Okay. This is our 11th episode then.
Wow, what's a milestone? That means we slacked last year. We should have done better.
we did start at the end of the season, so
yeah, but we should have got more people on.
Anyway,
Romford Raiders. I believe we support them. I think we do.
Do we?
Do we? Yeah, go on. We'll say we do.
Go on. Yeah.
Played Sheffield Steel Dogs away on Saturday and Berkshire Slough Jets at home on the Sunday. And we won both. We had a 4-point weekend. Let's go. 4 points. But yeah, we beat Steel Dogs 4-3. It was a good game. I watched it on the stream. It was a brilliant game. And then we beat the Slough Berkshire Jets 7-2 because we had about 4 goals that were the exact same goal because they just don't know how to defend. I felt bad. I felt bad for their goalie that was just stranded there with absolutely none of his players standing in front of the net.
Yeah, I mean, a netminder is only as good as the defense, but that was shocking considering he's an import.
Oh yeah, all this import stuff going about. But the fact that we got a 4-point weekend happens to mean we are tied on points at the top of the table with Leeds Knights and Milton Keynes Lightning, which is a good thing because we actually play Leeds Knights this weekend. And then Leeds Knights go and play MK this weekend, meaning it's all going to be like big and it's going to be a brilliant weekend and it's going to be exciting. And the fact is that I've figured out we are going to need Leeds to win on the Sunday against MK so we stay top. But that is if we beat them on the Saturday.
See, I think it's definitely a possibility that we beat the Leeds Knights. I mean, if the likes
there we go. Right, everyone, he's cursed it.
If the likes of the Bracknell Berkshire Slough Jets can beat them, then we're definitely in for a chance.
People are saying that last year our squad, we almost beat them. Now, obviously, people are going to argue that our squad this year is better than it was last year. Some people might argue the other way, but I think I think our squad this year is better than it was last year. Not loads better, but it still is better. So we are with a little bit of a better chance than we were last year.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely going to be an interesting game, and I don't think it's fair to say that it's a confirmed loss or a confirmed win.
Until the puck's dropped.
Yeah. Hey, puck drop, GB puck drop reference.
Exactly. That I'm just sick like that. But no Adam Lasham. As far as we know, no Adam Lasham. He wasn't here last weekend, not even on the bench. I believe he has. I don't know what injury he's got, but I know that it's obviously not I wouldn't say it's not the best situation, but it is like, look, it was a loss, but we still were able to get a 4-point weekend.
I think all the work he's doing with the boys behind the scenes is definitely paying off, even in his absence.
Yeah, exactly. So I think what we've done is sort of drilled in sort of more routine at the beginning of the year, so that throughout the season, our players can go out there and perform every single week, even with absences such as like when Schufeld was out a couple of weeks ago, and then we had now we have Leish that's currently out. It was last weekend. So I think it's good that we don't have to always rely on the big players. I mean, obviously I know they influence the team more, and if being on a line with them does influence you, but I think it's good that we know that we can still do like win as a team, even in their absences. And I think that's definitely something we have worked on behind the scenes. I think it's a good thing that's happened.
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway, I'm gonna go through the scores from every team last weekend. This is the league news bit of our episode now. Leeds Knights versus Hull Seahawks. They played each other twice last weekend. Leeds winning the first game 6-3, and then Hull winning the next game 2-1. Harry, do you think them losing on the Sunday is going to have any effect on how they play against us this weekend?
I mean, it's definitely going to be a knock to their morale, but that means that they're going to want to come to the Sapphire and prove themselves. So, I mean, I spoke to one of the Leeds fans, and they were saying that it wasn't a very physical game. So I don't know what state they're gonna be in physically, but I think as long as we bring it to them and show them what we're made of, I think it's going to be a solid matchup.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be definitely an interesting game. Now, Berkshire Slough B Jets played Solway on the Saturday. 5-3 to the Berkshire Slough B Jets. But obviously they then lost to us the day after 7-2. That's obviously another sort of okayish weekend for Berkshire.
I mean, they are slowly climbing their way out of the bottom of the table and slowly pushing other teams down. But it's really quite sad to see the Telford Tigers still sat at the bottom, only scoring 11.11% of points possible.
Yeah, and I was about to move on to that. Is like they lost 8-3 to Milton Keynes on the Saturday and 6-2 to Peterborough Phantoms on the Sunday. All round, I think, a weekend to forget for Telford. Swindon Wildcats played Peterborough Phantoms on the Saturday. Swindon Wildcats winning 7-3. That's a good result for Swindon. And then on the Sunday, Bristol played MK. MK won 5-4 on a shootout. I believe there was a video of Harry Gulliver scoring a penalty, and I believe there also was a video going around of Ben Solder forgetting to take his soakers off and falling flat on his face. I think that was our entertainment for this week, to be honest.
Yeah, it was quite funny, but I mean, there has been one time that I've almost got on the ice with my skate guard still on. So
I've done that before. I got on the ice. I had one skate guard on, not two, one. Put my first foot out, glided nicely. Put my second foot out, fell flat on my arse.
I mean, it's definitely something that we've all done. And
rookie mistake.
Yeah, it is a rookie error.
Yeah. Solway played Sheffield Steel Dogs on the Sunday. Steel Dogs winning 6-1. Steel Dogs are looking all right this year. They're not looking that bad. Peterborough Phantoms played Telford Tigers 6-3, as I said. And then Hull Seahawks Leeds Knights 2-1. I don't know if there was anything from DOPS this week. I don't know.
I'm not too sure.
I'm going to talk about quickly the top 3 NIHL players of the week.
Okay. You only want to do that because most of them were Raiders.
Whoa! Don't start. Number one for the week, the best player this week, Mr. Ethan James. Absolutely brilliant. With a save percentage of 91.25 this weekend. He faced 39 shots against Berkshire Bracknell B Jets and made 53 saves against Sheffield. That's just incredible.
I mean, it was incredible to watch him play against the Slough Bracknell Berkshire B Jets. And yeah, he's doing great, and he's definitely someone that I think it'd be good to talk to at length with on the podcast.
Exactly. And joining him from the Romford Raiders, Mr. Andrew Schufelt, got 2 key assists on Saturday, and he scored a hat-trick on the Sunday and added another assist to his total. So just talking over that quickly. Him and TJ play. Him and TJ. Sorry, TJ set him up back post goal, and then he set up TJ back post goal. It was basically identical, just the opposite way round. So, do you think that is a little bit of a duo that the league needs to watch out for, Harry?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, sure. Wait, who are we talking about? Sheffield or Miller?
Schufelt and TJ Anderson.
Oh yeah, I thought so. So, um, TJ and Sheffield are in our top 5 for point scorers. So, I think they're definitely a duo to look out for, and it's great to see TJ being able to gel with the imports so well, because he is one of those really powerful players when he's on the ice. So yeah, I think when you see TJ and Shuey striding down the ice, they're definitely people to look out for.
Yeah. And then along with them two on the top 3 players of the week is also Max Stewart from the MK Lightning. He's only 20 years old, and he was the man of the match in the 8-3 victory over the Tigers when he scored 1 and assisted 2. He then added 2 assists on Sunday in their 5-4 win over the Bristol Pitbulls. And he's on a 2-way with the Belfast Giants. So definitely there's going to be big improvement from him. Just playing under 2 very big teams.
So no incidents were sent to the Department of Player Safety, and there was only one penalty reviewed by the game review panel, which was Jane Lakonen.
He's butchered that one.
Yeah, I have fumbled on that one for the Peterborough Phantoms.
Lakonen.
Yeah, let's go with that one.
Why? What recklessly endangers the foul player? Right. Well, he probably just kicked him in the bollocks. There's an interview this week, isn't there?
I think it's quite an important one, actually.
Harry, I'll let you say it this week because I usually say it, so I'll let you say it. Go on.
Me and Brody had the pleasure of interviewing Andy Pearson, one of the directors of the Romford Raiders, which may or may not be the ice hockey team that we support. So
It's not. What are you on about? Stop lying.
That was a great interview to do, and it was great to hear from Andy. So we'll cut to that now. So today we are joined by one of the directors from the Romford Raiders, Andy Pearson. How are you doing today, Andy?
Hey, Harry. Hi, Brody. Yeah, all good, thank you. Pleased to come on to the podcast. First time I've done one of these, so be gentle with me, please.
I think it's going to be great for the fans to hear from one of you guys, and I think we should just dive straight into questions.
Sure, no problem at all. Go for it.
So to begin with, let's get a bit of background on you and the other guys. What made you and the other directors want to take over the club this summer?
I don't know. Want? I think we had to. I think there was an element of needing to sort of jump in and sort of save the club because obviously we were left a little bit high and dry with people leaving and what have you. We had already started. I mean, a few of us had already started talking behind the scenes. We're probably dating back to December last year, January this year, because we sort of got wind that obviously we'd had that great run to Coventry, and then things seemed to stagnate last year, and we just didn't know if there was going to be a Raiders, but whether there's the desire to sort of push on. So we had started thinking about it or talking about it, a small group of us from where I stand in the stadium, which is the Clock End. And I think once obviously John announced that he was stepping away, there was just a big move then from, a lot more energy from the Clock End, and then we'd already been talking to Al, and then thankfully Paul Davies come on board, and then the last piece was obviously getting Sean Barry involved as well. So having Sean involved from the playing side was key for us. And once we had that, I think it was then we felt a little bit more comfortable that we had all of the relevant people in place where we could make a good go of this. I think when we said about want to take over the club, I think we had a number of Zoom meetings with a number of people like Alan White and Paul Winniebank and Dave Leach, people who have been involved with the club for many, many years. And we didn't have any information on finances or anything like that. And I think Al's comment was this is going to be a passion project. We wouldn't have jumped into this if this was a normal business. We're all business people, and we didn't have any finances, budget, anything like that. But it was a passion project for us. We wanted to save the club. We see the potential in where we could go with Romford, the Raiders. I've gone back a long time since '87, with the club, and Romford back in Mon Valley Way days was always a hockey town, and we really do believe we can, get back to that level. So long answer short, it wasn't a want. We just had to do it. We do believe we've got all the right people in place to push the club forward, and we are very well aware that we are just stewards of the club. This isn't our Romford Raiders. The Romford Raiders is everyone's. We are just directing it and trying to make it better in the coming months and years for however long we've got it.
Yeah, so I know that me and quite a few other fans are quite worried about the future of the Raiders, and seeing you and the other directors step up and make sure that there was a club to come back to this season was great.
Thank you.
So, what was the first big challenge you really faced after taking over, and how did you all of you deal with it?
Um, I think the first big challenge, it was the lack of info, the lack of, there was no real budget or bank statements or anything like that. So we'd already been started, calculations and finances, say back in December, January. So we had a good idea. I mean, I've been speaking to a lot of people like Sean Easton, which helped, Paul Windybank, Dave Leach, people like that who already knew, some of the costings or whatever. And then we were really, really lucky having Paul Davis come on board because Paul is a finance man. So he took my garbled spreadsheet and really turned it into a proper cash flow model, which gave us that presented with us our first challenge. We knew then that, with tax and all those things like that, we needed other investors to come on board. And that was probably the first big challenge is understanding actually money wise, we need a bit of a float. So we went out to a number of people, we put the word out that we needed investors, and we were really blown away with, I think we had 10 or 12 people come back, all with varying amounts of donations into the club to buy shares in the club or in the new club. And that has really helped us. That was a really good thing for us. So first of all, first sort of challenge was the finances. Once we got that in place and we were really happy that, we could make this a go, it was then really getting the team on the ice. Obviously, we were late, very late with our recruitment, April, May time. A lot of teams are signed up, January, February time, losing our captain, losing our coach. It wasn't a great position. We always thought, I think all the four of us as directors and in the investors, we thought we got the best player in the league in Leish. And there was a lot of work to talk to Leish to hopefully get him to take on the club in a player coach facility. And him doing that was probably our next big challenge. He agreeing to that and putting together what we seem to be is a very good team already. I think it was a very good solid foundation. So the four directors, all the investors behind us, and then getting Leish, that was sort of the final piece of the jigsaw really. So we could then go forward with the club, and then from there it was a question of going out to the fan base. And once we announced that we had taken over, we said we want a volunteers night, or we wanted a night to announce the volunteers, and having to move. We originally booked it for the VIP or the office room in the rink, and realizing that actually the amount of engagement or people that wanted to help, we had to move that to a pub, the Golden Lion upstairs. That again gave us more confidence that actually there's a real big, strong, passionate fan base here. And the volunteers that we've had so far have been a massive help for us because nobody can run this team single-handedly. To make this work, it is a true team effort. And, so summarize, we had to get the right team in place. We had to get a good product on the ice. We had to get a good coach, and then we had to get the volunteers behind us. And I think hopefully that's all going in the right direction now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Leisha's doing wonders as a player coach. I mean, I know he's out at the moment, but you can still see without him playing, the team is playing amazingly. And I think that's
Absolutely.
definitely come from his great coaching.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, from the first coaching session, I think Brody was around the rink when we were trying to set up the streaming service and what have you. But for the first coaching session, I've watched a few, and the training sessions look different. They're very well organised. They're just you can see it in the style of play, as you say, and the fact we've had two 4 point weekends without key players, without with two imports, that speaks volumes of the foundations that Leish, Lewis, Baz as well as a coach has put in place really for the team.
Yeah, so I had a bit of a stalk of your LinkedIn before we got you on, and so I saw that you have a very long background in program management. So how do you think that's helped you run the club more smoothly so far?
I think for myself I'm quite organised. I have the ability to prioritise what needs to be done, and I think that's what we had to do as a management team. We had to work out what our priorities were. As I say, we were late to getting this up and running. We had to prioritise and put in place what we needed to do as quickly as possible, and that. From my perspective, that's what I do on my day job. So that really helped me choosing what needed to be done, and we got it done. I mean, we were lucky. As the initial wave of volunteers, we had Felicity come on board, and she was instrumental really, and we're using something called monday.com in just putting all this down into we had a task list of something like 150 items to get done, all allocated out to not just the four of us as directors. We had a number of other volunteers as well, and Felicity was instrumental in helping me get all that organized, and then just chasing down actions. It got to a stage where I felt people were getting fed up with me emailing them or WhatsApping them or phoning them or whatever. And as a team of directors, we all took on our own responsibilities, our own tasks, and we delivered. Well, I think we have delivered because we've got things done. There's definitely, we looking back, we can have a retrospective and go, we could have done things better. We could have done certain things a different way, or we could have got more different people involved, or what have you. But where we were, it was very much in a crisis management. We were just trying to get a team on the ice, keep the Raiders going, and then not only the Raiders as well is trying to keep the academy, the kids. We are getting a strong ice hockey academy here now, and we got lucky the fact that Andy Herbert come on board. He then invested money, and he's become the chairman of the junior academy, and with his energy. It then allowed us to focus on the Raiders. So, Andy, what he's done there has been phenomenal because, I've run junior football clubs before. It's a lot of work. And he's got he had a big task on his plate because there were a lot of, myself and Sean Barry went to an initial meeting with the parents, and there was anger, frustration effectively with how it had been run, I think. And Andy's turned a lot of that around, and we've now got, a very stable junior section, which we're looking to grow upon and thrive. So I think again, long answer short is, we perhaps could have prioritized a lot of things differently, but I think we've done the best job we could in the time we've got. The fact we've got a team on the ice, the fact the juniors are now breaking even with the numbers they've got in, and then we've also got a Buccaneers side as well. So, to turn all that around in, what did we, 3 months, 4 months, I think, very pleased with what we've done, to be fair.
So my next question kind of links into what you were saying about the monday.com thing. So have you brought in any other new tech or systems to make things easier for the team and staff behind the scenes?
I think the biggest change for me is Ellie and what she's brought in with the social media. The fact that she's I don't know social media. I'm old, basically. So, she understands things like Instagram and Instagram grids and outreach and, demographics of who we're meeting. And so she's got all that at her fingertips. So that really helps us with it. I think now one of the from the first video where we announced Leish coming back as coach, that bar was set very high. When you look around the other teams in the league, I think other teams do it well. I think we're right up there with the quality of our social media offering now across everything, Instagram, TikTok, and there's loads of other platforms which I don't understand because I'm old. But I think that's one of the biggest things is what Ellie's brought into that, the fact that she's got us all streamlined. You know, everything looks consistent. It's got a Romford Raiders look and feel to it. So it's not, oh, here's a colour scheme over here which doesn't go with this colour scheme. So I think that was the big thing for me, is just on that side. And then also as well on the streaming side, this is where Brody, come in. When we initially took over, obviously the stream is a big revenue stream for us, and also it's great so that I sometimes travel for work, and it's great to be able to watch games when you're away from the rink. We were left, there was no equipment left, so we had to go out and source all that, and that started with, I had a phone call with the guy Matt from Peterborough Phantoms, and he was fantastic. He walked us through it, sent me links for what we'd need, what we'd want, and then luckily enough, volunteer wise, Josh come forward, then Brody come forward, and I think we've built a decent streaming service. There's things we still want to improve, but I think they're the two main things. Our social media has definitely been improved, and I think our streaming service now is on a par with the majority of the league, if not better than some.
I mean, Josh and Brody have been great at working out all the kinks that have been popping up, and because I live in Kent, I can't always make all the games, and I've noticed a massive difference in the stream, and it's gone from being an enjoyable stream to absolutely loving it. And we had some family over a few weeks ago, and we were showing them the Buccaneers stream, and yeah, I think they live in Chelmsford, but I think we might have converted them.
Well,
Uh,
obviously, you'd prefer Romford to Chelmsford, wouldn't you? I mean, that's a no-brainer.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think the stream was spent. I mean, fair play to Josh, fair play to Brody. I think we had, and myself and Matt were involved as well. You got Matt O'Dowd and you got I think Matt Scott as well have been involved. We were there probably 6 or 7 setup sessions, and even then we still had problems with the sound system and the sound setup. What we wanted to do was, I think last year there were complaints about the Raiders stream, the fact that the camera quality wasn't great with the netting, and also the sound that the microphones that were being used were picking up a load of other background noise, which I know generally fans from other fan bases that lost would then moan about background noise and swearing. They never moaned when they won, funnily enough. But anyway, we wanted to make the stream look better and sound better, which I think we've done. We've got other, the replays that Josh has added in, the graphics that they've added in, the ability now. I know in the highlights, they go out Tuesday at 7 o'clock, and they're always well edited. We've got behind the goal footage now. Now we've got that for the stream and for the highlights. What we'd like to do is have that also in the game as well, so then Brody can switch between cameras. That's something else we want to do. We want to add more content in there. We want to have more adverts. We want to have more interaction. We've added the QR code, so if people watch it, they can then download the program, for instance, as an electronic PDF. So there's loads of things we can do with the stream, and I think it's going to just get better and better and better. And that is down to people investing their time in it. Josh is and mate, he's so keen to make this the best streaming service in the league. And what I would say as well is the other teams. I know we are all competitive and we all want to beat one another. The streaming team, there's a WhatsApp NIHL streaming WhatsApp group. They have been fantastic in their support to us as a new team. Josh was pulling his hair out a few times with sound issues and video quality issues. We'd go in there and we'd get answers back from virtually every team. Within 5 minutes of asking, what have you tried? What have you tried? So there is very much a community around that streaming side as well, which is nice to see, which I didn't expect, to be fair. I think that was obviously we're all competitive, we're all competing with one another, but it's nice to have that sort of league-wide support structure for Josh and the team.
Yeah, I mean that's it's nice to hear that the different teams from the different clubs are all banding together to help each other to bring the content to the fans.
Yeah, I mean Brody's really as good as well because he's really tall, so we just get him to to put the GoPros out, don't we, Brody? That's your job, mainly.
That is my job, basically. Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm
Do all
joking.
do all the tool work.
I'm joking. Brody does all the other stuff as well, so the replays and all those graphics and everything that happens in there. And I think you're doing a bit of commentary now as well, aren't you, Brody? So we're trying to do co-commentary as well.
Yeah.
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 I mean, that's one of the things to do. We'd like to get some old players. And we'd like to do more interviews. We'd like to get some old players to come up and, if they're at the game, have them as a co-commentator. I was listening to one of the Buccaneers games where Josh was commentating and Aidan Wilson come on, and we had to get him off because no one understood a word he was saying, to be fair. So we got Sean Miller in, and Sean was fantastic. He's got a career in sports broadcasting after this. I tell you, he was fantastic. So listening to, it's great having the commentary, but then having people to bounce off of on there. I always find that I think Peter have got a good setup with the two commentators. I think it's better to have that because it's, you don't want to listen to one voice potentially for 60 minutes. So no, I think we're looking to improve the stream. And we do ask. I mean, every time we sell the stream, we always say we've got an email link, studio@romfordraiders.co.uk, and we're always looking for feedback, really. So what more can we do to improve the service?
Yeah, I mean, it's great to hear that the club are actively trying to improve everything for the fans, really.
Yeah.
So, how do you and the other directors work together on the various aspects of the club? Do you each have specific roles, or do you just tackle every problem as a group?
I think initially we all jumped in, and then we had I was generally the task monkey, allocating tasks out to people and chasing people down and being a pain in the whatever. Al was doing a lot of the work liaising with the league. So when we initially joined the league, I think people know that obviously the Romford Raiders were in the league, but there's 10 other teams, and you have to be accepted into the league. The league want to make sure that you're viable. They want to make sure that you're going to be worthy owners. It's not to the level of the Premier League fair and fit persons test or whatever, but it is very much. We had to be interviewed. We had to pull together a proposal to say how we would run the club from top to bottom, which Al worked on with us. Al sort of took that on and he's sort of the main person contact when it comes to the league items. Paul is, I'll say it again, thank Christ Paul come on board because he is absolutely a money man. That's what he does for his job. He keeps us in the checks and balances for the finances. Brody would know we've tried to be. Josh has been requesting stuff all the time for the stream, and Paul makes sure that we're not spending too much in the area. But to be fair, he's virtually signed off on everything we've asked so far. I think Josh would disagree, says he still wants one more bit of kit, the stream deck. So we'll look for that soon. But I mean, Paul's ideal just on the financial side, and then obviously Baz on the hockey side. Obviously Baz being a hockey player, he understands that, and the amount of time he's put in, not just to the hockey side as well. He's got some very good, huge business ideas. He's been printing merchandise. He's been sourcing sticks, sourcing equipment, sourcing suppliers. The work he's put on, it's not just a hockey side for Baz. Baz is, been a huge driver on the business side as well. So I think we all have our own relative lanes we stay in, but we all help each other out, for example. And also Al does a lot of ticket stuff, which I do now as well. So I think it's a bit of we all pitch in when needed. We have also got full-time jobs as well. So generally there's a case of if there's a fire to put out, one of us will jump on it and get it done. So we just need to we do what we need to do when we need to do it, I think.
So, kind of moving on, what are your guys' plans to bring in more fans and get the Romford community more involved in the club?
Yeah, I think the volunteers are helping us with that. I think the big program, Sheffield have got a very big schools program, so they're in schools assemblies, and part of the volunteers. We put this out in the summers when we just took over, and people like Shell. We asked, oh, we want to go out to schools, and Shell and Claire Phipps and Felicity, within 2 days, they'd come up with a list of 300 schools in the local areas, which I didn't know was 300 schools in the local areas, but, and their email addresses. And then Felicity's put a process in place to email those people. And then they come in and then we book them in for assemblies. And Claire Phipps has then gone away and created an absolutely fantastic slide deck with videos and interactive sessions. And then, our first assembly, we took Leish with us, and Sean Miller, and those two were amazing with the kids. I think I was talking to Sean. Sean says that that's something they do when in Canada when they're part of the junior hockey. They're used to going into schools and promoting the clubs they work for. So, and you could tell they were just naturals at it. They really were great with the kids. So, I think the school assembly program is a big thing. We've obviously had one visit so far to the brewery. We had a stand there. And Felicity and Bernie are running that. She's a natural born salesperson. She was engaging with everyone. I think she gave out more leaflets than anyone else on the day, and we've definitely seen newer fans come in because of the work they're put in. I think we've got another. I think this might be next Saturday week. The 26th. I think we're at Tesco's in Romeo Corner with a stand. Then we've got a number of other brewery visits as well. So I think we've got 10 brewery visits between now and the end of the season. So we're trying to do a lot of things like that to promote the club. Hopefully Romford are going to have a Christmas lights turn on. I think I saw a story this week saying they are now going to have that. So we want to get people in, we want to get the team involved in that, get that front and centre. We want to have theme nights as well. Ellie and Sean Miller's girlfriend, or partner is Jenna, have been organising Halloween, the Fright Night. I don't know if you've seen the socials that have gone out on that. So we want to have theme nights. We want to have our kids for a quid night. We literally, and when we've asked as well on the volunteers group, it might be old fashioned, but anything, word of mouth, dropping leaflets, going on all of the social. If you're part of a local community group, then please share our posts, get the word out there. I mean, it used to be, it was amazing for us in the brewery where we would say to people, "Oh, come and watch ice hockey." Where? People didn't even realise that Romford didn't have the Romford's got an ice rink, let alone an ice hockey team. So we're trying to actively promote that as well, and we're trying to work with everyone active who run the rink, to try and help with that as well. So I think it is really word of mouth. We are trying to run these school assemblies. We're doing theme nights. We're doing, promotionals, breweries, Tesco's, what have you. We're doing as much as we can, really, with the local community and schools. But if anyone's got any other ideas, then please come to us. Please email in. Please let us know. Catch hold of us at the rink. More ideas, the better, really. We want to turn Romford back into what we call it a hockey town, where I mean I'm friends with Steve Gardner, the Romford FC football chairman, and he says, in the local area we're probably the biggest supported, we get the biggest attendance. We want to make that bigger. We'd like to sell out the rink. That's our operation sell out. I keep talking it to Felicity. But if we can sell out the rink, one of the games, and then once success breeds and we start to sell it out. Ron Valley Way, we used to have 1,500 people in there. I don't see, we can't fit 1,500 into the Sapphire, but I don't see why we can't be approaching 900 to 1,000 in there. It's a great sport to watch. Once you've watched it once, you're generally hooked. So I think once we get the word out there, that snowball starts rolling, we should be able to turn Romford back into what it was, which is a hockey town.
Yeah, I mean, word of mouth is definitely a powerful thing. Like you were saying, my my dad's always talking about it at his work, really, because he doesn't work too far away from Romford. And I've seen a couple of his colleagues around the rink at various weeks, which has been good to see. And Kids for a Quid, I think, is definitely a great promotion. And it also had some of my parents' friends bring their kids along to come watch it, and now their little girl keeps asking them when they can go and watch hockey again.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant. We have definitely noticed Kids for a Quid works. The attendances. I mean, I think the team's playing fantastically well. We know that, and the team deserve to be rewarded with a full rink. My view is I'd prefer to have a bum on a seat at a discount rather than a blank seat, an empty seat. I I mean, I think there's no, but I went to the first game at Ron Valley Way, and it was on a free. Well, it was on a free ticket. Well, one free ticket has probably cost me thousands down the years, but it works. I think once people come to an ice hockey game, there's not many more exciting sports. I think, and I think the way the team's playing, they deserve to be playing to a packed rink with as many fans in there as possible.
Yeah, I think it was when we were talking to Jack Cooper, he was saying that the noise from the fans just fires them up when they're on the ice, and it was nice hearing that the players notice the difference that playing in a full rink makes.
Yeah, I think it was good last week. We had 60 kids in from Marshall's Park School last week, and we deliberately put them in the small stand. Because what I'd like to, you obviously got the big stand, which creates a lot of noise, but you definitely notice, I think, because I stand at the clock end, so I'm sort of in the middle. You definitely notice the noise goes up when you've got more people in the small stand. Because you've got that sort of noise going across the ice between both sides. And it was great last week because the noise was a bit a higher decibel because it was a lot of kids in there all together. And I think the team deserve it, and it can only help. And the more the team feel supported, the better they play, the better our results. It's a snowball effect, and then we start to pack out the rink.
So, my next question is, what's been the most rewarding part of taking over the club so far?
Um, I think it's just you got to take a step back sometimes and actually remember where you were 5 months ago. Um, we didn't have a club, and what we've managed to do. I think you've got to say our league table position, and that's league and cup as well. It's great to see that success. It's great to see that before the season started, I read all the predictions, and we were predicted bottom at best. I don't think anyone had us going into the playoffs unless it was a Romford fan on there. So I think we've played a lot of the teams. I think it'd be great to see where we're at tomorrow night against Leeds. It'd be great to see, sort of a benchmark for us on that. Um, I think the biggest for most rewarding, the best night was I think the first overtime win. So I was standing in the tunnel. I think I was doing something with Alan White, the man of the match beers or what have you, and Leish come off and sort of caught me eye, and then almost just gave us a big hug, and he looked so happy. The work that man's put in over the summer, it felt like it was a great reward for him. So rewarding, I think it's just seeing a lot of people putting a lot of work and having that rewarded. Everyone takes great pride in the Raiders, and that's volunteers and everyone involved. And seeing the success, everyone takes into that and has played a part in it so far. And I just hope it continues throughout the season. I really do. I think we deserve it.
Yeah, 100%. So, I've got one last question before we move on to the fan questions. What's one thing you'd love for the fans to know about the work going on behind the scenes?
It doesn't stop. Basically, we're not stopping just because we've got a good team on the ice and um, the numbers are starting to come through the door. We need more. This isn't just a one and done season for us. We want to put Romford back on the map of say Hockey Town. We want the Raiders to be a success. We want the Buccaneers to be a success. And that's something I should have said earlier on, actually. I mean, when I talked about all the volunteers and what have you, and the Andy Herbert for the juniors, Carrie and Jason Buckman, what they've done with the Buccaneers, they probably had less time than anyone to get a team on the ice. And I know they worked very extensively with Leish and Baz, so it was very collaborative, with the two ways and what have you. Um, I think they've got a competitive team, which we didn't think. That league has got very, very good this year. Obviously, a lot of players have dropped down because of the commitment. That league's got very good. We've got a competitive team in there with, yeah, and that's due to Carrie and Jason. The Buccaneers, if we haven't got a Raiders game, please go down and see them because what they've put in there, they deserve decent crowds as well. And it's also, it's a relatively cheap night to go down there. If you're a season ticket holder, you get discounts off. It's decent ice hockey. You've got what you just, Husker is a Raiders legend, and he's down there. So, you know, go and watch them play. I think the Buccaneers have been fantastic. But I would say it's just there's still loads more work to be done. We want to operation sell out. We'd love to sell out the rink, and the more people we can get in means more money in the door, which then just safeguards the team moving forward. At this moment, we've got financial forecasts and models and what have you, and we are we've got investors that have invested money into this. We'd love to be at the fact that start of next season, we don't need investors to put money in. This is a self-serving, self-sufficient operation, and that's what we really want to go forward with. And we're not going to do that just by sitting on our laurels and saying, "All good, we're third in the league. We're not going to do any more." We will carry on until Romford sells out week in, week out, and then it becomes, this slick operation which just carries on year after year after year until the next set of stewards take over from us as the owners of the Raiders.
Okay, so I think it's about time for our fan questions. Don't you think, Brady?
Definitely. So Andy, I think one of the questions that Harry sort of he has touched on it, but I think it's this one's sort of a bit more specific. So what's been the biggest challenge going from a fan to being one of the directors?
I think it's first of all, it's the lack of info. We didn't know what we were getting into. We got loads to learn. How the league set up, game night stuff, game night sheets, just the admin around the whole club. I mean, we're lucky. Game night, we're very lucky that we have a WhatsApp group where the game night stuff run by Dan Oxley. We've got a lot of people already doing the jobs. You'll see a lot of the faces, they haven't changed, which is fantastic. The fact they've changed with us. We were very lucky to have, I'll call them the old guard. They'll have a go at me for this. People like Alan White, Dave Leach, Paul Windybank, Tanya on the merch. They were there and they're still there, willing to give up their time to help this club going forward. And it was a big challenge for us because we didn't know what we didn't know. They helped us fill in those gaps, and also they're still doing those jobs. And I think, Dave Leach this weekend, it's his 25 years he's been doing this. He's been in the sim bin for 25 years, so he's got more penalty minutes than Jason Hewitt probably. But anyway, sorry, Dave. But yeah, I think we didn't know what we didn't know. We've got a very good team. We've got the old guard behind us, and that really helped us take the club on.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely important because obviously going from being a fan, you sit there, you watch the Raiders every week, so it's sort of a bit of you have a bit of knowledge, but obviously it's much bigger when you get into the mainstream big stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, just understanding what goes into running a hockey club.
Uh,
And also the financial elements of it as well.
yeah,
The cost it takes to run a club with equipment. I'm not going to say what the numbers are here, but I have said to people when we get out to friends of mine, and I've said I've done a game with them. Guess what it costs to run the Raiders in a year, and I've only had one guy get anywhere near the number. So yeah, it is not eye-watering, but they are surprising numbers.
yeah.
But so far, so good.
So I think it was my sister that asked this question actually. Um, yeah, it was. So, what's your favorite part about being a director?
Um, it's nice to actually get to know the players. Um, I picked up Andrew, so Shuey and Sean Miller when they landed from Heathrow. It was nice to get to know them, get to know, you get inputs coming over, and they're just fantastic human beings, those two. They were just really nice, smiley individuals, and that's just carried on. They're carrying the team. I think it's nice to get to know the players. It's nice to get, I always remember Ron Valley Way, because we had the bar at Ron Valley Way. Um, Ice hockey for me is different from football. You can interact with the players. I know we've got the Golden Lion, but at Ron Valley Way, players would come up for a drink and there'd be many lockings and what have you. And you got to know the players at a personal level. And it become more personal and you enjoy it. I enjoy ice hockey, that element of ice hockey more than football. So that's been good for me. The fact you can get to get behind the scenes, you can meet the players, you can get more interaction with them. And then favorite part is, I think it's for me, it's just seeing the hard work that's been put in by all and being rewarded by all. So, the 50-50 team, um, 2 weeks ago or whatever, we had our highest ever 50-50 prize. And the pride of that 50-50 team with Mel, Claire, Graham, They were almost as happy with that as the final result of the ice hockey. And I think it's just seeing that as people put in their hard work, it's rewarded. That's the big thing for me. I think is that's the favourite part. Seeing people's faces, seeing how happy they are, that the fact the team's success and that they are contributing to that success.
Yeah, definitely. So one of your fellow directors, Paul Davies, has written him, and he said, "How do you find time to do your regular job?"
Paul can answer that one as well. It's interesting. So Paul's in Philadelphia this week, and yesterday I was messaging him before he got up saying, "Can we book hotels for the players and whatever?" So it's very tricky. I mean, over the summer we've had some times, maybe June time, July time, where I just had to book out time. So I was working, up probably 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. and then 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. So doing like 6 hours a day on this because we had lots to do. And that isn't just me, that's everyone. Baz has probably done more hours than me. Paul and Al have done the same. It's we've we've invested a lot of time. It is tricky. You have to balance it. But I think seeing the success we've had and continue to have, hopefully, we do believe in what we're trying to build here. We do believe that the Raiders, Romford, down to the Buccaneers, down to the academy, can be, I'll say it again, a hockey town. I want kids. When we were back at Ron Valley Way, we had, Richard Tomlin, we had the cast, Warner Cox, Danny Marshall. We had local boys coming through, and now we've got we've got Brandon, we've got Kate. Yeah, I was saying it's just, I think when I was growing up, it was great to see, you know, Richie Tomlin play and the cast and Warner Cox and Danny Marshall, and now we've got Brandon Coops, Jacob Ranson. You got local lads playing for the club, lads that have played together, and that can only breed success as well. And we really want that. I would love to be around as involved with the club long enough to see kids that are coming through Andy's academy now pull on the Raiders, pull on the Buccaneers jersey. It's we want to make this when people think about what sport should they play, it's easy to say, "Oh, we'll go over and play football over the park." No, I'd like them to think, "Oh, actually, we've got an ice rink in this town. There's not many towns that got ice rinks, and ice hockey's a fantastic sport. Let's go and give that a go. Learn to play, and let's see if my boy or girl can be a Romford Raider or a Romford Buccaneer. It's that's where we want to really grow. We want to really grow the club.
Yeah, definitely. I think the youth is sort of the future of Romford, as many people would say.
Yeah, I mean, we're never going in if we fill out the rink. So our capacity, I think, is 1,200. 100 people. The most we can sell is probably 1,000. Milton Keynes, Hull the other day had 1,300. Milton Keynes get 2,000. We're never going to match them for budget wise, even if there is an alleged salary cap. We're never going to match them budget wise. So we have to produce our own homegrown talent. And I think what Romford crowds like, yes, we like to see good imports, but hard-working imports, 200 feet imports, and then supplemented with a good local Romford contingent. I mean, it's great. I think I said it in one of the Golden Blue posts this year. All the new people that joined the team and Lace coming on, great and whatever. One of the biggest satisfactions for me was getting Richard Tomlin back on the bench because that Tomlin name is synonymous with Romford, and the fact we've then got Joe, we've got his son playing for us, and Joe plays exactly the same way as his dad. It takes me back to when I was a kid watching his dad play, lining people up and hitting them. That is a really big, huge thing for me this year. So yeah, I think it's the more kids we can get coming through the system, the better, because we need that to be able to compete at this level.
Yeah, definitely. So, two people that you should know, and two of your players have asked questions. One from Mr. Aidan Wilson, Scottish guy himself, and he said, "Can we get a milk sponsorship?"
Yeah, excellent question. But he hasn't confirmed, does he? So what is it? Dairy, oat? What colour top does he want?
It's blue
I'm
top. Blue top.
top,
Blue top's usually the one.
full fat.
Yep.
There's nothing on him, so I don't understand that. He looks like a skimmed He looks like a skin man to me. Actually, probably because he's Scottish, yeah, he probably will be full fat. To be fair,
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. We'll okay. We'll do if he scores at the weekend. Perhaps we'll get him a milk sponsorship, and we'll throw in some dairy milk as well because I know that's his. I've
Brilliant.
seen one of the vlogs. I don't think he's his diet is well. He's definitely young because he can play sport on that diet. I don't know how he does it. To be fair.
That's yeah. And the other one was from Mr. Jack Cooper, captain himself, and he says, "Why? When will you stop bullying him? When will you
When
stop
I
bullying Jack Cooper?"
when we stop bullying, I don't know if it's bullying. That's a harsh word to use in these times, Jack. Perhaps gentle ribbing. Now I will say when he lifts the trophy at Coventry, this year.
Oh, fair
Once he
enough.
does that, then I mean, seriously, seeing Jack, it's great that today we just announced that it's his testimonial this year. 10 years he's put into the shirt, and there's a saying in hockey, you play for the front of the shirt, not the back, and he definitely does that. He is a Romford Raider through and through. I mean, he wears the number 14 now. Those of a certain age, i.e., me, 14 was always associated with one of my favourite players was Tari Sawari. Jack, when the Legends game come along and Tari iced, and Tari joked to me, he said, "Who's wearing my 14?" Coops is well worthy of wearing that 14. In fact, Tari's a lot bigger than me and he's a mate, but I would say it Coops deserves to have that 14. It's now Jack Cooper's 14. It's not Tari's 14. And I hope Tari doesn't hear this.
Someone else asked, just how long have you been a Raiders fan for?
Luckily enough, the first ever game, September 13th, 1987, Oxford City Stars. My mate Matt Scott, who's one of the investors. His dad worked for the local police, and I think Romford went out and they just spammed. They gave a load of free tickets, and I was lucky enough to get one of those through Matt. And yeah, been a fan ever since. I think we won the first game 9-6. Lee Power, who's Matt's cousin, will tell me off for getting the score wrong if I do. But I think we went to the first game and we were 4-1 down in 5 minutes. And in football, I support Fulham, and Fulham at the time in '87 were rubbish. And I thought, oh, good, I've picked another team that's going to be rubbish. And then that year we played 26 games, and out of 52 points, we got 51 points. We had one draw because you could have draws back in those days, and that basically summed it up for me. It was always, from that first season, it's always been a passion for me. So I was very lucky enough to go to the first game. I'm on the '87 club, if we want to call it that, and I'm very, very pleased now and honoured to have the chance to push the club forward into 2020 and beyond.
Yeah, that is a brilliant achievement to have as a person. I think obviously I wasn't born then.
Just
But,
being old, Brody. Yeah, it is an achievement. Just getting to this age. I agree with you, mate. I
Yeah,
agree.
well, yeah. I only started watching in 2022, so that is a different. I don't know. My parents definitely watched a couple of games when we were at Ron Valley Way, but I never got to see it.
I mean, you're
But I
barely
did.
out of nappies, though, are you, Brody?
It's,
That's why.
that's
I
yeah,
mean,
exactly. Yeah. Um, some Bruce himself, Big Bruce, has asked, "What do you think about the club mascot?"
fantastic. But does smell a bit.
It does, yeah.
I've been in, I've been in that suit. And when we advertised the golf day this year, myself, Baz, and Alan White went over, and we said we'd do a bit of advertising and whatever. And the suit was there, and it was who's gonna wear it,
I would have made
and
Baz do it, to be
no,
honest.
Baz is a lot better with the camera. So I put it on, and I wish I hadn't. Although I did hit a very good drive with the suit on, so I was quite happy actually with that.
Fair
But
enough.
yeah, the good thing I didn't realise, mascot suits when we were at the brewery and also at the school assembly as well, and Claire Phipps's partner Dave wore it for one of the school assemblies. The buzz of seeing that mascot come in is huge. And at the brewery, as soon as Bruce come out for his 20 minutes, half hours, we were just swamped with people. The mascot is a huge part, I think now, becoming a huge part of what Romford is, and it just draws attention. And I don't know who has got the guts. I mean, who was in it at the time, I can't remember. remember who's in it from brewery, but they walked from the brewery to the rink. I would never have the guts to do that because I'd fall over. That's a hard thing to walk in.
The final question, I think I've saved the best till last here. What has been the best part of the season so far?
Definitely the league table. Definitely seeing everyone's smiling faces. I think there's best part. It definitely the one moment really caught me. I think I said it earlier on. The first overtime win, we come off was in the tunnel, and and the players are really great afterwards. By the way, with the kids and whatever, they're so open, and they want to fist bump and take photos, and they spend time with the kids, which is great. But Leish come off, and sort of Leish caught my eye and saw me, and then just the beaming smile on his face. It was a big old hug, and it was like all the reward for the effort that he's put in. So that's the biggest reward for me so far this season. And then just seeing, it just feels like there's a feel good factor around the ring. You go around and we've still got lots of work to do. We've still got lots of things to put in place, but there's definitely a smile. There's energy. I think people can see that there's a lot of people who want to get involved and want to help and move this club forward. And the atmosphere, I think, from this year to compared to last is night and day, and that's the best thing for me, I think, so far. And we're only going to build on it. We're only going to make this better and better and better.
Yeah, well, that was all we've got with the fan/colleague questions from a few of them. Harry, do you want to add any more to this?
No, I think that's about it.
Thank you for the time, guys. Brody, thanks for the work you do on the stream and around the rink and what have you. And Harrison, nice to meet you. Hopefully I'll see you at the rink in future games.
Yeah, I mean, Lindsay normally makes me come down and stand with her during the second period, so maybe I'll bump into you then.
You will. You'll be down. You're in the clock end. Massive.
Smashing. Thanks, Andy.
Take care. Thanks a lot, guys. Cheers.
Next weekend. See, there you go. That was a good jingle for next weekend. To play that every time. Romford Raiders play Leeds Knights. I think we've already gone over this. I can't lie.
I think we might have covered that.
And also Peterborough Phantoms away on the Sunday. Hull Seahawks play Sheffield Steel Dogs. That's quite a big game. Two good teams playing each other.
I'm looking forward to the Seahawks playing the Steelers. I mean the Steel Dogs. Steel Dogs doing pretty good. Especially with their EIHL backing. So yeah, it'll be good to see that.
And then the Steelers play the Solway Sharks on the Sunday.
Do you mean the Steel Dogs?
No, Steelers. Swindon Wildcats versus Telford Tigers. That is going to probably end up as we all think it's going to end up. Bristol Pitbulls versus Berkshire Style Beagles. Solway Sharks versus Peterborough Phantoms. That's your Saturday games. If you didn't hear any of them, tough luck. You can rewind. Steelers versus Solway Sharks on the Sunday. Leeds Knights versus MK, probably the biggest game of the year so far. On Sunday. Peterborough Phantoms versus Romford Raiders, the best team, playing on Sunday. Berkshire Style Beagles playing the Bristol Pitbulls on the Sunday. And then Telford Tigers versus Hull Seahawks. We all know how that's going to happen on the Sunday. There you go. That's how it's done. Then I'm going to jump another week just to say that we've not got a home game until we haven't got a home game for a while.
Got a home game until November.
Until the 1st of November versus MK, which is on Friday at 9:15.
I think that might be the biggest matchup of November.
How can you say that? It's on the 1st of November and you're calling that the biggest matchup of November. The month's just started. If we're talking the biggest thing of November, let me scroll through here quickly. These Knights play MK again on the 23rd of November, so that's probably quite big. Romford Raiders play Solway Sharks for some reason quite a bit recently. I don't know why. But yeah. Harry, how far away are we from the end of the month? We're two. Actually, it's two.
Literally 5 minutes away, mate.
5
That's
minutes.
Bit of an approximation, but
Yeah.
we are 2 weeks away from the end of the month.
What do you think the standings will look like at the end of the month?
So I want to be optimistic here and also slate Milton Keynes Lightning a bit. I want to put us holding second or third with Milton Keynes below us and Leeds Knights at the top and Hull Seahawks somewhere in between.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go complete opposite. I'm gonna think MK top. Not even by much, like barely anything. Us second, Leeds Knights third. I feel like the Still Dogs might have a couple good weekends here, and they might get up with us.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I think we're finished.
I think that might be all for this week.
It might be. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed the interview with Andy as much as Andy enjoyed doing the interview with us. We hope.
We hope.
Anyway, thank you very much for joining us this week. I've been Harry. Oh, for fuck's sake, I keep doing that.
Every week.
Anyway, that's it for this week. I've been Brody. That's been Harry. Goodbye.
Oh, brilliant.